Hello everyone and welcome to our chat today. It's great to see so many of you guys have showed up and hopefully you guys will learn quite a lot today. So before we do begin, I just want to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation upon whose ancestral lands our city campus now stands. I pay respect to the elders, both past and present, acknowledging them as the traditional custodians of knowledge for this land. Now, before we get into the juicy parts of the talk, just some general housekeeping. So we are recording this webinar and we are doing a screen share with our presenters. So all the audio and video footage will be recorded. And any questions you guys are writing down throughout the presentation will be recorded as well. But we don't have access to your webcam or your microphone, so you don't need to worry about that. If you do actually have any questions about the privacy at all, you can contact UTS at marketingprivacy@uts.edu.au. So that's the little email address down at the bottom of the slide. So I'm going to introduce our panel for today. So first of all, I'm Pat, and I'm a student ambassador at UTS Science. So I'm currently doing my PhD in parasitology and a bit of public health as well. So we are also introducing Dr. Catherine Burke. So Catherine is the program director for our undergrad biotechnology programs here at UTS. We also have Rachel on our panel, and Rachel, just like me, is a student ambassador at UTS, and she's a graduate of the Bachelor of Biotechnology majoring in environmental biotechnology. So just a quick run through, we're going to be presenting you just an overview over biotechnology at UTS, answer any questions that you guys might have about studying biotechnology at UTS. We're just going to run through career opportunities. We're going to meet a current student. So like I mentioned, Rachel will be answering some of your questions. So that's it from me now. I'm going to pass over to Catherine now so she can go into a little bit of details on biotechnology.
Thanks, Pat, and good morning, everyone. So yeah, as Pat said, my name's Kath Burke, and I am the program director for the biotechnology degrees and major at UTS. So why study biotechnology? Well, I think the answer is that the options of what can be achieved with biotechnology are really limitless. So most of you who are high school students are probably too young to remember the cloning of Dolly the sheep, but perhaps your parents would remember that. It was a really huge moment, a huge scientific development when we were able to clone an animal. Now, of course, we have these big discoveries that get reported in the media, but actually there are many products that you use in your everyday lives that are products of biotechnology, and you may not be aware of that. You know, some of the food you eat is from genetically modified crops that are disease resistant. The cotton in your clothes often is also genetically modified to be resistant to particular diseases. And oh, sorry, Pat, if you could just go back to that previous slide. And also the really big biotechnology product that is front and center in all of our lives right now is, of course, vaccines. You know, we're all, well, many of us at the moment getting vaccinated against COVID-19. And the image that I've got there is representing the mRNA vaccine. So you might have heard about the Pfizer vaccine being based on this mRNA technology. And while this is a real breakthrough in terms of a new way of doing vaccinations, this is built off research and development that's been happening for about 20 years. So it's really astounding that since this new disease emerged in just about 12 months, we've actually ended up with quite a few different vaccines that are available for people to take. So that's a testament to what can be achieved with biotechnology. Thanks, Pat. You can go to the next slide now. So a few other areas of biotechnology, and you know, I'm really just scratching the surface here. I've got a picture here of what we call organs on a chip. And so there's been a lot of developments in areas like stem cell biology. You know, we used to need to get embryonic stem cells to be able to then grow other types of cells, but scientists now know how to reprogram almost any cell in your body into a stem cell and then to reprogram it into almost any other type of cell. And this has really opened up huge possibilities in the areas of personalized medicine. In the picture in the middle there, you can see some algae growing. So these are single-celled algae, so kind of like seaweed, but they just grow as single-celled organisms. And this is a real research strength here at UTS, where we have a bunch of researchers who are doing fantastic things looking at what's the potential of using algae for producing products. So that could be pharmaceutical products, but also many other types of products as well. And so I saw recently that there is a PhD student working on using algal cells to produce polymers that can be used to make more environmentally sustainable fabrics. So there's some really interesting research going on in that space. And the last picture here really is just, I guess, to remind you that although the biology underpinning all of these products is, of course, really, really important to understand, to develop a product out of this knowledge, it's also important to have some understanding of the business and intellectual property side of things, because, particularly with intellectual property, this is sort of one of the foundations on which we're able to raise money for a new invention or a new idea, and then to be able to commercialize it into a product. And I think that's one of the strengths of the UTS degree, and something that's quite unique, certainly in the offerings in New South Wales, is that part of our core subjects is actually a law and a business subject as well that cover these fundamentals. It's really important for commercializing discoveries. Next slide, thanks, Pat. So what's it like to study at UTS? And I'm sure that Pat and Rachel will have more to say on this, but, we have beautiful facilities here at UTS. The picture of the lab there is our new Hive lab that just opened up last year. It's called the Hive lab because of this hexagon-shaped tables that the students will sit at. And that is full of really cutting-edge scientific equipment. So it's a fantastic place to learn. Of course, at the moment, we're not on campus, but we're really hopeful that as these vaccination rates continue to grow and as it becomes safe to do so, that we can welcome students back to campus as soon as possible. And so the other picture that I've got is of our new building 2. There's some really fantastic buildings. It's a beautiful campus to be on. And then the last picture there is really just about, I wanted to emphasize that. So you can see a lecture theatre up the top there. But actually, when you come to UTS, you probably won't have a lot of those traditional style lectures, because our model of learning is really about making the most of that face-to-face time and having really interactive learning experiences. And so it's probably going to be more like the picture beneath, where you're in workshops and tutorials and really interacting with other students and with your tutors as well. Next slide, thanks, Pat. Okay, so let's have a look at the actual courses. So we have our Bachelor of Biotechnology, and we have 2 different majors that are available in there. So you can study medical biotechnology or environmental biotechnology. And we also have the Bachelor of Science with a major in biotechnology. So applications can be through the University Admissions Centre, and you can get more information, of course, from our website on how to apply. And I should also say, while we're on this slide, that actually UTS graduates of the biotechnology degrees are actually held in really high regard in industry. And so it's a great degree to do in terms of employability as well. Next slide, thanks, Pat. Okay, so let's have a look at what the Bachelor of Science study plan looks like if you've got a major in biotechnology. In the first year, we do a lot of those really principles of science type of subjects where we're covering all the basics. We've got chemistry, cell biology, statistics, human anatomy, physics. And then as you move into your second year, you start to get into some more specialized subjects. There's a few microbiology subjects in there. And of course, microbiology is really important for biotechnology. That's where a lot of our biotech products have come from. And as a microbiologist myself, I love to give a little plug to microbiology. And then in the third year, we've got some of the more specialized subjects like biobusiness and bioreactors and bioprocessing. So you'll notice there that there is a whole semester free in the third year. You can either take your electives in that semester, but we've designed it that way also so that if you want to do an internship, you've got a whole semester there where you could do a substantial internship, and they can be internal at UTS, and we can also help facilitate external internships in industry as well. Next slide. Okay, So this is the Bachelor of Biotechnology, and the study plan here is for the medical biotechnology major. So the first year is a little bit different. We still have those foundational science subjects, but we also have a few more advanced subjects like immunology. In second year, we get into those IP and business subjects, and we also have some more specific subjects around biotechnology, so the biotechnology subject. Again, we've got that first semester in the third year free to do an internship or to do your electives as you choose. And then we have some specific subjects that are core to the biotechnology degree, like medical biotechnology. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So again, this is the biotechnology degree, but with the environmental biotechnology major. So similar to the med biotech degree, except of course the specialised med biotech subjects are replaced with specialised environmental subjects. So you've got ecology, environmental chemistry, environmental biotechnology, and environmental protection and management. Next slide. So what kind of a career can you have with a degree in biotechnology? There's a really broad array of careers that you can access with a biotechnology degree. You can be a lab technician, you can be a biomedical engineer, genetic counselling, data scientist, clinical trial management. Patent attorney is another really viable career. And I think, a lot of students don't realise that this is something that's open to them, and that actually science graduates are really valued very highly as patent attorneys, because you really need to understand the science to be able to help write or judge the patent applications that come in. And then, of course, there's also regulatory affairs, biomanufacturing, and so on. So let's have a look at the UTS Early Entry Program. So this is a program that allows high achieving school students to secure a place early at UTS. And so it's based on your year 11 results. And students who are in year 12 at the moment and want to study with UTS in 2022, you can go and apply right now. So those applications are open. And so you can find more information on that at our website, uts.edu.au/early entry. Next slide. Okay, so after the session, there's lots of activities going on today, lots of videos, virtual lab tours, so please do have a look at the website to see what other activities are on. And of course, I think now we're going to answer any questions that you guys have. Oh, sorry, actually, before we answer questions, my bad, I'm going to introduce Rachel, who's one of our student ambassadors. And so Rachel's going to tell you what it's like to study at UTS. So hi, Rachel.
Hello. So I guess a little bit of background. So I initially really wanted to study biotechnology because I really wanted to be able to use scientific research and knowledge to solve problems in a way that was accessible for everyone. So my initial really great driver was because I wanted, as Catherine was talking about before, GMO cotton and making new polymers out of algae to make more sustainable fabrics. It was an area that I was really interested in, and I still am, but I think since starting the degree, I've learned about so many more options that you're there's too many options and so many things that you can be interested in. And I think the highlight definitely has been how varied the experience has been, because with this degree, you kind of get to look at the whole process of from research all the way to applied science and then to commercialization of your research and of that scientific knowledge. So I think it's really varied in who you get to talk to and who you get the opportunities you get to talk to lecturers and tutors who have their own research, who have their own interests, and you can find out so much more about what people are actually researching now and what is really important at the moment. And everyone's really, really friendly. Like at the Hive lab that you would have seen a picture of a couple of slides back, there's a lot of classes that run in there at the same time. So you can see what other classes are doing, you can see what kind of things they're learning, what kind of techniques they're doing, and that can also give you ideas for you as well for what you're doing. And any advice for anyone who's interested in biotechnology, I think you should try it because it's it's definitely taken me to places I didn't really think about. It's given me such a rounded view, and you get exposed to so many things, particularly at UTS, and everyone's very happy to help you get internships or to provide you opportunities and talk to you. So I think it's very rewarding for people who would like to see like an impact on people in the wider community, I guess, in what you're doing. Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, guys, Catherine and Rachel. So we're going to have time to ask a few questions. So let me see. Okay, so someone here is asking, what should we do if we wanted to study biotechnology, but chemistry wasn't studied for the HSC, so they haven't done any chemistry subjects at all? Is it possible to still study biotechnology?
Yes, the answer is yes. We have bridging courses that you can do to catch up on that gap in between having done chemistry in HSC and then what you would learn in your first year chemistry. Yep.
And
We've
I'd
also
like
seen
to yeah, sorry.
Yep, sorry, Rachel.
I'd just also like to add that in a lot of first year subjects, and including chemistry, we also have UPass classes, which are student-run study sessions, group sessions. So they're free. Everyone can go jump in, and you'll get someone who's already completed the course in the last 2 years or so and has got a really good mark. They'll help tutor you through the subject as well. So they're also a really good resource if you're a bit uncertain.
We also have a few questions about scholarships that are available for people studying biotechnology. And I am aware that UTS does have a scholarship website that's just completely dedicated to matching the right scholarship for you. And the best way to find that is just going onto Google and typing in scholarships UTS, and it will basically give you drop-down menus that you select, whether you're international or domestic student, and so forth, so forth. And you should be able to find a perfect scholarship for you. There should be quite a lot available, especially in the sciences, because I know that the sciences are very popular. In terms of another question, a few students are a bit concerned about studying online. Is it a bit difficult? Is it unusual? How is it working, with our whole current situation going on? Catherine?
Sure. So I'll jump in first, and maybe, Rachel and Pat, you might want to give your perspectives as students as well. Yeah, look, of course, it's challenging to study online, and we all recognise that. What I can say is that as academics, we've been working really hard to try and make the learning experiences online really interactive, and to make sure that you still have lots of contact with the teacher, that we run live sessions, right? It's, not just you sitting alone trying to figure it out. And, the same with the laboratory sessions, they're running, recording the techniques, running some sessions in the lab and recording so that you can actually see live what they're doing. Now, of course, that's not the same as getting the hands-on experience. And we're, really hopeful that by the beginning of next year, things will have opened up at least a little bit. This year in the first semester, we were running labs on campus. Sometimes we were doing them with social distancing, sometimes with masks and higher numbers of students. So we will be going back to that whenever it's safe to do so. But yes, we're trying really hard that while it is online, to make it as interesting and interactive as possible. But you probably want to hear from the students of how they've found that experience as well.
Yes, it's definitely been quite challenging shifting to online. But I can definitely tell, particularly with like a lot of the researchers and a lot of the lecturers are trying really hard to make it, definitely as interactive as possible, and getting you videos as much as possible of what you do in the lab, or sending so many other resources that you can use and look at to try and make up for that time that you're not actually physically in the lab. So it is challenging, but it is doable. You still learn quite a lot through it.
Yeah, I think you guys covered that quite well. Since I'm a PhD student, I actually teach classes on occasion, which usually involved practical classes, which is now obviously now shifted to the whole online capacity. But I don't think the students miss out too much in terms of the practical studies. A lot of it can be implemented through online teaching either way. So I haven't heard too many complaints about that. But obviously we're all sort of hoping, at some point to return back to the labs. But, in terms of other questions, we have someone who's interested in medical imaging. Does this course or biotechnology courses lead to employment in medical imaging? I think Catherine might be best to answer that.
So in the medical biotechnology major, we do have a subject on medical devices and diagnostics. I believe there is another subject specifically on medical engineering, on medical imaging. And so that's, something that you could do as an elective to certainly sort of increase your employability there. So yeah, certainly that's something that would be an option.
Yeah. And I think we have time for one more question. There's quite a few asking whether biotechnology is more lab-based or more practical than it is theory-based, or certainly some people want to go into research with biotechnology. I think Rachel is basically a prime example of there is a possibility to go into research when doing biotechnology. And I think you two would agree with me.
Yeah, look, I'll just quickly jump in there, and Rachel, feel free also to answer if you want to. Yeah, look, certainly we need to understand the theory, but there is a really strong practical component. I think having the opportunity to do internships also gives you the opportunity to sort of get your hands wet in the lab and actually see what it's like to do research. We can do internal internships with researchers on campus, so you get that experience of what it's like to do research. And absolutely, research is a really viable pathway out of a biotechnology degree. The biotechnology is really interfaced with research, right? That's where all the discoveries are coming from, is from scientific research. And so that's a really strong component. And certainly going into doing a PhD or honours or masters is absolutely something that you can do with a biotechnology degree. And in fact, many people who go on to have careers in industry or as patent attorneys or these other pathways, many of them have actually done a PhD or a master's, and so had that research experience as well, which can be really beneficial then in other careers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks so much, you guys.
Can I add? Do we have time for me to add something?
Go for it.
Yep. I'd probably say, the practical aspect of knowing what to do in a lab and how to use the equipment is just as important as the theoretical side, because if you don't know how to do it, you can't do any research. So I was really lucky to be able to do an internship at an agricultural research station over the summer, and I think UTS set me up really well because they show you how to use all of the equipment, but there was definitely a lot of stuff that's really specific to areas and on how to do processes that you might, theory won't really help you there. You just have to learn how to do it in the lab. So in that aspect, I think biotech is very practical, and yeah, it's a doing subject.
Yeah, thanks guys. I think that's all we have time for now. If you guys have any burning questions, we do still have, I think Catherine might have mentioned, we have chats later on today as well, until 3 p.m. And we've also got chats happening on Tuesday this week. So you can just drop in and ask any of your questions. We'll have academics and all sorts of people answering questions there. So they'll take care of you quite nicely. So I hope you guys learned a bit. I hope you guys got quite a bit of information from this session, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Rachel. And hope to see you all soon.
Thank you.